In this video, I'm going to share my strategy how anyone can realistically set themselves up to make $100,000 and more from crypto in 2024. So if you're looking for a plan, if you're looking for a strategy, this is the video to watch. So if you know me, if you've been following me for a while or for a long term, you know that I'm not the kind of person to make any kind of unrealistic or ridiculous claims, especially when it comes to being able to make money and get results. Okay, so there are never any guarantees, but what I'm about to share with you in this video today, I think is the most reasonable and realistic strategy to be able to make $100,000 or more, starting with relatively low capital. We'll range it from $10,000 all the way down to $1,000 as starting capital, which I believe is realistic enough for almost anyone to achieve in today's world, whether it be through just cutting down on expenses, selling stuff that you don't use anymore that's unnecessary, maybe doing some side jobs, whatever way you can think of to come up with between $1,000 and $10,000, especially right now at this point of the cycle, because the timing is very, very important, because we want to ride this momentum of the bull cycle, of the bull market, to the upside. This kind of stuff is obviously not possible in other market conditions, but I believe it is very possible in the continued bull cycle. So grab yourself your favorite beverage, make sure to like this video, maybe leave a comment down below, and be sure to follow my page and subscribe for more continued updates. Okay, so to realistically be able to present this better, I've made this little spreadsheet here to make it easy for you to see. Okay, so we're talking in terms of starting capital. I want to give three possible scenarios. One is where you start out with $1,000, which is literally accessible to pretty much every one of you just watching this right now. Then a little bit higher in between, $5,000, which I still believe is very accessible to most people. And then $10,000, which might not be for everyone, but it is still very much a possibility. And if you don't know how to get $10,000, maybe it's a good incentive to figure out, how do I make $10,000? What can I do? What kind of online business can I start? Maybe I can start helping people with social media. Maybe I can do freelance jobs. Maybe you can work a second job. Maybe you have stuff lying around the house, etc., etc. This video is not about how to come up with that money, but hopefully it'll make you think, because $10,000, while it might be a lot of money to you, it is not really a lot of money, but positioned in the market, in the crypto markets at the right time, could turn into very significant amounts of money, and in this case potentially $100,000. So look, first things first, let's look at a single multiple. This is just very basic math. If our target is $100,000, if we're starting with $1,000, we need 100x to be able to get that. If we're starting with $5,000, it's obviously a 20x, and if we're starting with $10,000, it is a 10x. Okay, now obviously the difficulty mode here is very, very different. If you're starting with $1,000 and you want to get 100x, while it is technically possible, it is very, very difficult. How do you know which coin is going to do 100x? And even if you manage to get in at the perfect coin at the perfect time that is going to do 100x, are you going to be able to hold that coin all the way up to 100x? Or when it hits 20x, are you going to think, oh, 20 grand is nice? Or when it hits 30 grand, oh, 30 grand is nice, 40, 50, 60. You have to hold it all the way to 100. So the difficulty mode to get 100x on a single choice is very, very hard, maybe even impossible. But with $5,000, it becomes a 20x. Now, while that is still a very big multiple, if you go and look back historically, the previous bull market cycle, there are many, many coins that actually ended up doing a 20x from bear market lows to the euphoria highs. And we are still at a phase where we are before the previous Bitcoin halving, and that potentially sets us up, if we do get a continued cycle, for 20x in many coins. So this becomes a lot more doable. Now, getting a 20x on a single coin, is it going to be easy? Not really, but I do think it is doable. Now, if we're looking at a starting capital of $10,000, now we only need to get a 10x, and that is completely realistic in my opinion. Now, do we get that guaranteed? Obviously, there's no guarantees, but at this point in the cycle, if we see a continuation of what we got in 2021, then a 10x on many altcoins is something that I believe is pretty likely that we're going to end up seeing. But again, the timing plays a massive, massive role. If the market moves higher, the higher it moves, the less chance you have of that multiple. So the lower you get involved, or the earlier you get involved, the higher the chance of upside if we get that continued bull market That is why the timing is incredibly, incredibly important. Now, what I just shared is all based on the single multiple, meaning that you just put the money into a coin, hope for that complete multiple, and then you hit that target of $100,000. What you can also do, and I think this is really a lot more reasonable and more realistic, is if you break it down into 2 trades. So instead of one trade where you have to do 100x on $1,000 to be able to make that, well, at a double multiple, you only need to get a 10x and then 10x the 10x, and then you hit it. That's still hard to do, of course, but it makes it a lot more realistic because getting that 100x is incredibly difficult, but getting a 10x, that is something that in this bull market happens a lot more frequently, and there's a lot more coins that end up doing a 10x. So if you can get a 10x on a 10x, you're turning 1K into 100K. Basic math again, but it's a different way of looking at it. The same thing with $5,000. Now, instead of getting a 20x, which I believe is doable, but obviously that's quite a run. I mean, getting a 20x on a coin, you're going to really have to be able to get in early and hold that all the way up. It is possible, but it's more difficult. Whereas if you break that down into a double strategy, so where you're taking 2 trades, well, you need to get a 5x on that and then a 4x, right? So 5,000 times 5 is 25,000 times 4 is $100,000. Again, basic math. But this time, you need to get a 5x and a 4x, which seems much more reasonable once again to be able to achieve that $100,000, especially if we get a continuation of this bull market cycle, a repeat of 2021. Well, we're still pretty early as I'm recording this with altcoins, and I believe many altcoins will do a 5x, if not a 10x or more. So if you can take that initial capital of 5,000 and then turn it into 25 by getting a 5x, and then taking that and turning that into 100, then you hit your 100K target. And obviously there's risk involved here, guys. I'm just sharing the strategy. If you turn 5 into 25,000 and it's meaningful money for you, by no means at all do you have to go and gamble that all to be able to turn it into 100. If 25,000 is life-changing money for you, take it, change your life with it, and there's always new opportunities. I'm just sharing the strategy with you, and that's why it's important also to have that risk capital. That is really the key here. Anything you risk here, it should be money that you should be prepared to lose. 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, whatever it is, in the pursuit of being able to change that into more life-changing money, which I believe $100,000 is pretty life-changing for a lot of people. And the same applies with $10,000. Yes, you only need to get a 10x to get it to 100K, but if you do a 3x on 10K, turn it into 30K, you do another 3x, 3.3x, then you're at $100,000. And that seems incredibly much more realistic and doable in these bull market conditions, provided that the bull cycle continues and we get a repeat of 2021, we get a continued bull market cycle. If you're starting with 10,000, you get a 3x. There are so many coins that do a 3x in these bull markets, especially altcoins. And then you take that 3x that you've gotten into 30K and you get another 3.3x on that, and you're at 100K. So let me show you some examples of charts for previous bull market cycles to show you the kind of multiples that we're seeing in those previous cycles, what we could potentially expect this cycle, and then how that relates to what I've just shared for you in terms of this plan. And I really hope that this does make sense to you. If you have any questions, of course, leave a comment down below. I'd be happy to answer, happy to give you any feedback there on questions there. But this is, in my opinion, the most realistic way to be able to make an extra $100,000 this year from crypto with relatively little risk. Okay, depending on what you're starting with. $1,000 can be extremely hard, but I mean, even if you turn 1,000 into 10,000 or 1,000 into 20,000, that's obviously a very nice amount of profit. But if you can start with between $5,000 and $10,000, I think it becomes much more realistic to be able to have that chance at that potential upside and turn that into $100,000 or maybe even more in this crypto bull market cycle. So I'm here in the charts. I want to run you through a few random altcoins just to give you an idea of what happened to prices in the previous cycles. And you can go and do this for yourself, load up TradingView, run through the charts so you can see where we are at right now, what happened in the previous cycles, and if we do get a continuation or repeat of the previous cycle, continued bull market action, which I believe the chance is pretty high, seeing how Bitcoin is going, seeing how ETFs are approved, seeing how the amount of money that's flowing into crypto. I think we're going to get another bull market continuation and a lot of upside in these altcoins. And again, the timing is so important. So look at this. This is a coin called Enjin. You can see what happened here from January 2021. It did a 23x over here. That is absolutely insane. So here is a coin called Digibyte. You can see over here It's been around since 2014, long time. I just want to show you as an example what happened in this previous cycle. You can see January 2021, it did a 7x over there. Here's another coin called Phantom. You can see what happened from January 2021. It ended up doing an 84x, absolutely insane. You look at this coin, it's called Sol Phantasma. You can see from July of 2021 to December of 2021, it did a 40x. So there is so many examples here of altcoins. You can go and load them up, run through them, where they have done anywhere between 5 and 40x, even more than 40x. And that is really the potential here. You can see also, as I'm showing you these charts, what it did in the last cycle, and look at the current prices. Okay, this specific example here, this was the previous bull market cycle. It did a 40x. We are back at those same prices. If this coin was to go back from where it is today, and it was to go back to that all-time high, it's a 25x, just right there. And all you need to do is be early and be patient with the right coins. It's all about this bull market liquidity, and the timing is absolutely crucial, because if you miss this move up, if you only get in much higher towards the middle or maybe even towards the end, you have no upside potential. The risk becomes higher and you have all this downside that is ahead of you, and you probably get wrecked like most people do. So the trick is really, you have to know about the stuff, and you have to act, and you have to position yourself early before this bull market pump plays out. And you can see it doesn't last very long, 6 to 12 months at most from start to finish, and then it goes all the way back down. And I believe that this time is going to be no different. That is why I'm warning so much. That's why I'm sharing so much here. That's why I'm making so much content saying you need to pay attention now, because with this crypto market, the timing is everything, especially with these altcoins. You don't want to be holding them throughout the bear market, because they will probably all drop 80, 90, maybe even 99% once again. You can see over here, this drop from the peak all the way to where it is now, it is down 97% from the peak. Okay, that is what happens to the majority of altcoins, and you don't want to be buying when everyone is euphoric about it. Okay, we are well on our way. Bitcoin is above $50,000 at this point. We are well on our way within this bull cycle, in my opinion. And if we do get this continued upside, and we do get this in altcoins, you want to be positioned now when the markets are low, and you want to be looking to sell when it goes absolutely nuts. When these coins do 20, 30, 40x, that is the time to exit. That is not the time to get involved. So now coming back to the spreadsheet again that I shared with you earlier, does it look a lot more realistic to you now? Does it look a lot more reasonable to be able to turn these amounts into $100,000? I think absolutely yes, and that's why I created this for you. I don't think it's a completely unreasonable claim at all. I think it's pretty realistic, and obviously the more capital you have to start with, compared to starting with 1,000 versus 10,000, turning 10,000 into 100,000 is obviously going to be a much easier task than turning 1,000 into 100,000, simply due to the amount of multiples. Now, especially if you look at it at a double multiple, so a 2-trade kind of strategy, rather than getting a single multiple to turn the starting amount into 100,000, take it and divide it into 2 trades. And then if you're starting with 5,000, you need to get a 5x and a 4x consecutively. That's it. If you're starting with 10,000, you need to get 3x and a 3.3x, and you are at $100,000. And from what you've seen with these charts, if we get that continued cycle, getting a 3x twice in a row, 2 different coins, rotate that, it seems very reasonable and very doable in my opinion. Now, if you want more information on which coins to buy, how to create a portfolio, which coins are potential gems that have 10x upside and more, all of that and more I cover inside my VIP membership. The link is in the description down below. In there, you'll get access to all my coin research, my updates, my monthly market updates, my weekly market updates. You get access to me and the whole community that I've created with more than 2,300 members. We have a private Discord group where you can chat with me directly and the community. We have all sorts of channels about all sorts of topics. I have complete courses in there, a crypto beginners course, a trading course, and most importantly, I also share my own portfolio holdings, my own buy and sell movements, the coins that I like the most that I'm buying, the research that I'm doing on new coins. All of that I share inside my Discord, and I also share my own trade ideas for spot trading, for leverage trading, for crypto, for Forex, even for the stock market. This is an absolutely awesome place to be if you want the best chance of success with crypto And if what I shared in this video here makes sense to you, and you want to continue learning from me, and you want me to continue to share that with you and teach you so much more and give you